All right. Any questions? Dan, go ahead.
Hey, Fizz. Did you guys have everybody you expected, I guess, today? And then I guess secondarily, I'm curious if you've been given any clarity on Frank's situation and kind of when we might, not that we're sick of seeing you, but when we might get to see him.
I'm sick of seeing me. What are you talking about? Frank, right now, we just, it's a matter of just testing now and getting those negative tests in. But he's doing well health-wise. Spirit's right, obviously, chomping at the bit to want to get back and start competing. No new news otherwise for practice. Avery Bradley practiced today, got a good practice underneath him, so that was good for us to have him back in the gym. And we actually had a practice, which was awesome. So, we haven't had one of those in a while, so that was good to get out there and sweat a little bit and clean up some stuff offensively and defensively.
Okay, Kyle.
Hey, Coach. You talked about Russ, wanting to win so bad after the game the other day. He was just telling us, he feels like he has this strong sense of what he needs to do and what it means to play as himself. What is the balance for the coaching staff of, kind of going through the process and looking at the game from, okay, we need to do this and this, and also just kind of letting a historically great player kind of figure out some things on his own?
Well, we're all in this together, figuring it out, and none of it is for him to figure out alone. We don't want to leave him on any kind of island to figure out anything by himself. What we are encouraging him to do is what he said. He's got to be himself, and within that framework, good things will come out of it. A lot of people's making the noise about the missed layups and stuff, but as a coach, if I got Russell Westbrook at the rim for layups, I'm living with whatever happens, because that's where you want him. You want him in the paint all night long. He has 17 shots in the paint. That's big time. He always gets all of these other criticisms and stuff. He took 3-4 jump shots in a game and got 17 shots in the paint. And that's big time for us. And for him to have 11 assists, get us 5 extra possessions on offensive rebounds, like that's the stuff, as a coach, as you go through the process of watching the film, of course, you're going to coach the things that we need him to be better at, fundamental stuff, things like that. But, we're going to keep showing him the highlights of where we need him to be as Russell Westbrook, in the paint, at the rim, making plays for teammates, getting to the foul line, putting other people's best players in foul trouble, really getting the ball spread around the guys and getting people involved. And defensively, he competed his tail off too. And, so I get it. It's a lot of scrutiny on him and stuff like that, but we're going to all figure this thing out together. And it starts with him just being himself.
Dave?
Fizz, considering the expectations that I'm sure the coaching staff and the locker room front office has for this team,
Yep.
What's it feel like being in a 5-game losing streak?
Man, it don't matter what team you coaching. When I was coaching the Knicks, and when people didn't expect nothing, if you lose 5 in a row, it's misery. You're not happy. But there's 2 types of ways you can respond to this, right? And that's the only thing we can control is our response to a 5-game losing streak. We can either bitch, moan, complain, point fingers, deflect, or we can get in the gym and work together and get in the film sessions and have raw conversations and talk about what we need to do to get better and improve. The beauty of our 5-game losing streak, if there's any beauty, is that the leadership that's rising up from the ashes of this is something to marvel at. You guys don't get to see this stuff, but to watch LeBron James and AD and Russell Westbrook and Melo and our veteran guys navigate this and keep our group focused on the main things without pointing fingers has just been something to really sit back and enjoy as a coach. And to have that for our coaching staff, to have those kind of guys who don't panic or don't get sick at sea, that's a real luxury for us. And so I feel really good about this group and where they're at. And I know everybody's like, oh man, the Lakers, but ultimately we get our stuff together and you got to beat us in a series. I'm gonna like where we are.
Yep.
Back to Kyle.
Fizz, just logistically with a back-to-back with really far flights, if you get guys out of the protocols either later today or tomorrow, is there any chance for them to join the team or will it be after? When you guys
there's always a chance of that, because we're trying to get our guys back in the fold as fast as possible. And, some of that, unfortunately, there's a suffering that comes with that, right? Because guys have been gone for 10 days. They've been sick, no legs. We throw them in there. It's hit or miss. Sometimes they go through some tough stretches, or like Malik, come out and play well, right? And so that's the tough part that you have with bringing them back. But if some guys are healthy and the opportunity is there to get them out there with us, I'm sure that, that may be something we look at.
Dan?
If it's kind of just a general question, obviously when this team turned over as many people as it turned over this past offseason, like continuity was always going to be an issue. With the team's age, like injuries were probably going to be an issue at some point. Are you a little surprised that just like the talent at the top just hasn't been good enough to kind of, you know what I'm saying, to kind of navigate those waters that I guess, even though they've been wilder probably than anybody can expect?
Nah, I'm not. I don't come into something painting some pretty picture of what it might be. I don't get into that. I try to stay present, and whatever's in front of us, I look at it for what it is. What should have been, could have been, would have been, that all sounds great. The reality is this is where we are right now, and this is what we got to do to get better. And putting it on our stars and all of that stuff. We playing a hell of a basketball league with a lot of talent, and the young talent in this league, I think we're seeing right now, is phenomenal. I mean, these young guys, these young teams are athletic, they're fast, they're big, they're versatile, and so they cause problems, and they're well coached, and they cause problems, and so we're having to make adaptations and evolve as a basketball team to keep up and play with the new NBA. And that's a growing pain that we're suffering through right now. And what I'm starting to see on film is I'm actually starting to see us do things without thinking about it that really fits what attacks the NBA today.
We have time for one more one with Jordan.
Hey, Coach. Wanted to ask you, how was it getting DC and Stanley Johnson, at practice? And also, with Stanley taking a lot of responsibility defensively with Avery Bradley coming back, is there a way we can see Avery and Stanley playing together with each other?
All right, Coach Richard. Okay. Yeah, there is absolutely, because what Stanley Johnson shows you is he can get after people. And, to have a size forward that you can put on star players, that frees Avery up now to put on that next guy. And we know Avery Bradley hung his hat on being a big-time defender. And having him back now with the addition of a Stanley, that gives us some flexibility to put some pretty good defenders on the floor around our stars. And so, yes, Jordan, we will be looking at some of that stuff. And, having DC as another guy who can move his feet and compete on the ball will be helpful. But I also don't want to put so much on him. I literally took him out of his home and put him into a Christmas Day game, but that's where it was at. And I thought he did pretty damn good for a guy who hadn't played, and, I think just letting him get his legs under him today, he had a practice, let him take some hits, get those joints working again. I think we'll end up seeing some good basketball to him. And here's another guy now that, once he gets his legs under him, we can add another defensive guard who can make an open shot at the same time on the other end of the floor.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Coach.
Have a good one, guys.